That's right. The Average Joe's bringing your fantasy thunder once again. I'm your host, Ollie, and my main man here, Dave No Tonyo Brown Allen on the phone with you once again. How you doing this week, Dave?
Doing good, doing good. How's it going?
Man, doing all right indeed. Glad we're back again for week 3. And there's so many things to talk about, so many storylines. And again, we always want to thank the listeners, thank everyone for coming back and looking at the video podcast here. We appreciate you guys so very much. We had a lot of support last week. I actually got numbers that blew our minds for being
Yeah,
a young
absolutely.
podcast. Yes, sir. Dave called me up and said, "Have you looked at the numbers?" I said, "No." I said, "Oh my God, we went over 2,000." So we're just growing and appreciate you guys. Do us a huge favor. If this is at the very least decent, please hit the like button, subscribe, and we do want your comments. In fact, we're going to start doing some giveaways for comments. We're going to do like a stat of the week. Um, where every now and again, the first person who comments and gets the answer right will possibly get one of our free giveaways. We're working with some different companies right now to bring you guys some different things. But we're here for you guys. We're the People's Podcast, the People's Fantasy Podcast, and just want to say again, thank you guys for all the support. Um, Also, want you guys to visit us online, Facebook. You can search the Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. Will pop up. Join that group. We are answering questions there and also commenting during the games, things of that nature. But how was your week 3, Dave?
Good week three. Good week three. A lot of close games this week three for me, and a lot of fantasy impact on this game tonight. So it's gonna distinguish for me if I'm winning or losing. So, but overall, better week three than the Vikings had. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah. The Vikings had a little bit of a problem. They ran into a game Bills team, and really took everybody by surprise.
Yeah, that was. I don't think anybody. I went super confident with Latavius Murray. I was ready to go. That was
Yeah,
man.
I think everybody was a little bit just taken back by the once again by the result of that. As you're watching the scores go over the screen, again, I'm thinking the operator must have the score backwards. There's no way the Buffalo Bills are trouncing. I mean, just demolishing the Minnesota. I mean, there were people who were like, Minnesota. We're going to talk about Minnesota here in a minute. They're going to be one of our segments. We got a few segments here this evening. Before we get into the segments, though, Dave, you had a question of the week, and we're hoping everybody will look at this and go ahead and comment in the comment section here on YouTube. Go ahead and give the people the question of the week, Dave.
Yeah. So, like I always said, we're doing questions, and I came up with one. I'm gonna try to say it slow and clearly so you guys can hear it. It's kind of long. Cam Newton, Tyrod Taylor, and Deshaun Watson are all listed higher on the rushing list than these 3 running backs who were drafted in the top 3 rounds in fantasy drafts. So I'll repeat it. Cam Newton, Tyrod Taylor, and Deshaun Watson are all listed higher on the rushing list than these 3 running backs that were taken in the top 3 rounds of fantasy drafts. What are the names?
All right, you heard it there, folks. Do us a favor, go ahead and comment. The first person to get it right, you will get a kudos this week. But again, coming up very soon, we will be having giveaways. So please continue to come back and comment on the questions of the week. So we have a few different segments we're going to go through here tonight. One of the segments we're going to go through is the WTH segment. What the heck happened? Obviously, we've already mentioned the Buffalo game. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. I have a few things I want to bring up. I'm sure Dave has a few things he wants to bring up. We're going to do, obviously, a Week 3 recap here. We're talking about some of the games from Week 3. We're going to preview a few of the games coming up for Week 4, and then we're both going to do our starts of the week. And if time permits, we'll also do a quick waiver wire. Again, you guys know I'm not huge on waiver wire because every single podcast out there does a waiver wire, every single show. But there are a couple names that I may bring up if we have time at the end of the show here. So, Dave, let's go ahead and start off with that. What the heck of the week? I'll let you go ahead and go first. I'm sure you're going to snipe me out here.
Well, we both already kind of talked about it. What the heck with the Bills-Vikings game in particular? What the heck, Josh Allen?
Yeah.
In a good way, actually. 15 for 22, 196 yards, a touchdown. He had a hurdle over a linebacker, which was awesome.
Looked like Cam Newton out there for a little bit, right?
Yeah. And speaking of that, the guy, he 10 rushes for 39 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen balled out. I guess it just took a player to retire at halftime on your team of your game and
to pump you up.
Yeah, light some fire up under you and say, hey, I don't care how good this Vikings defense is. I'm gonna get mine.
we have to keep some players on the team because another bad week like this, we may have half a locker room if everybody keeps retiring at halftime. That was so stupid. I've never seen such a thing ever in my life. I mean, just how do you come up with that in your mind? You know what, guys? This first half kind of sucks. I'm good.
I had a good year. People know my name.
Right.
I'm good.
I'm done. Yeah, man, the only thing I can think of for Minnesota here is that they just went in one of those trap games. Just wasn't thinking about the Buffalo Bills. This is a layup. This is an easy win, and went in unprepared. I don't know who to blame here. If you look at the box score, probably because they were playing catch up the entire time. Kirk Cousins had a decent line. I mean, not a whole lot of touchdowns, but 300 yards passing. I believe Adam Thielen had a great afternoon, had a lot of catches, maybe 10 catches for 110, 12 yards, something like that. The running game was nil, though, and that was not to be expected. I did find out, though, that the defensive play calling is taken over by, I believe, Sean McDermott now. So perhaps that had some kind of an impact. But even still, the Minnesota defense did not stop Buffalo, and they've been the easiest team to stop thus far. I don't know.
Right.
Do you have any ideas of what happened here?
I don't. On the defensive side, like you said, I have no idea what the situation was. I don't know if they were just comfortable or if they underestimated Josh Allen's speed. I have no idea because, like you just said, I mean the stats. I mean they were kind of there. Stephon Diggs had a quiet game, but Kirk still had a great game. I think he had two lost fumbles, and I think he threw a pick too. It just looks like the Bills defense stepped up, and the Vikings kind of got hit in the mouth early, and
that was it.
They didn't really know what to do on either side.
Yeah, that's certainly a what the heck. I have no clue, and hopefully the Vikings rebound, and also hopefully the Buffalo Bills are living up to the billing here. Maybe they come out and be a competitive team going forward. And I was in a survivor pool. And thank goodness I didn't pick Minnesota this week to win. But I was really thinking any team that plays Buffalo this year, I'm picking that team. That's the team that I'm going to pick for my survivor pool. And I'm glad this week I didn't.
I don't know how you chose, because if it were me, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. I would have picked the Vikings and kept on going.
My thought was that I know Minnesota should win that division. I know they're the cream of the crop there. I can save them for a harder game later on in the season. What's another team that I wouldn't typically bet on who has a layup? And off the top of my head here, I can't quite remember. I think I took the Browns, but it may have been someone else over a different team. But I was keeping all of my division winners. I think it's going to win the division. Those are going to be my last 8 games because I can pick them. Hey, those one's going to have. So that's what I was trying to do here. But we'll see. Neither here nor there. Definitely what the heck. My what the heck is the not even so much the Detroit-New England game, which was definitely a surprising outcome. Detroit has a bit of an offense, so they can come out and stick with anybody and play with anybody. But I don't know. Tom Brady, that's really the what the heck for me. 133 passing yards on the night. 133. And the ground game was nothing to write home about. It's not as if, we got 300 yards on the ground, so Tom Brady didn't have to pass. It was abysmal. And I'm not quite sure. I didn't go back and look if this is one of the lowest yardage outputs for Tom Brady, but I'm certain it has to be in the last 5-10 years. 133 yards, and they have not looked good through the first 3 games.
No, they haven't. They haven't looked very good. And the defense isn't anything spectacular right now either for New England. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, even though it was a Sunday night game, I'm not going to sit up here and say that I watched it intently because I wasn't expecting it to be much of a game. I mean, these are the same Lions that we just saw get whooped week 1 by the Jets.
Right.
So I'm expecting New England to go in there and kind of handle business. So, yeah, I didn't really get to see the gameplay exactly and see if it was the O-line or what was going on. But, yeah, I was just utterly surprised. I did see the pick he threw, I think, to Darius Slay that just it just was kind of like he overthrew it, or I don't know. Brady just seemed, from the couple plays I saw, he seemed a little off kilter for whatever reason.
Yeah, it was. You didn't miss anything. It was pretty bad. You expect Tom Brady with his pedigree and who he's been over the years. You're like, okay, well, fourth quarter time, Tom Brady time. He'll throw for a couple hundred yards in the fourth quarter, bring them back, and they're going to win or at least make this a game. It just did not happen. And I mean, the offense as a whole, I'm looking at it now, right around 89 yards rushing total on the evening. And now I'm starting to kind of get an idea why they would take a shot at a guy like Josh Gordon. They must know what we don't know. They have no pop in that offense. Gronk is going to get triple teamed, double team, triple team. Chris Hogan has not worked out in the slot. I'm actually a Chris Hogan owner, and I can't wait for Edelman to come back so he can go back to his old role, because he caught 2 touchdowns last week, but it was like right at the end of the game where you can tell he wasn't involved, and it was kind of probably more luck than design. And I don't know, man. This offense, now again, we're kind of early in the season. It is Tom Brady, not counting them out, but this is probably as bad as he's looked since I can remember.
Yeah, it's been a while. And for you guys, I have to say this. Like, this needs to be said. Can the Madden curse be having like a delayed response?
He's trying to validate this thing, guy. Look, that ship has sailed. As a matter of fact, speaking of, one of the listener questions, I was actually on in the chat room here recently, and a guy asked me a question about Antonio Brown. He said he was down by 22 points, and he has Antonio Brown left tonight. And I told him, easy button. Antonio Brown to get to 22 points in the sleep. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the Madden curse. He's good to go, folks.
Hey,
delayed effect of the Madden curse. Now we're going over the top.
Oh, man, that's funny.
All right, man. So who's your next WTH?
Mine is my what the heck. This next guy, I don't really know who my what the heck is for. I'm saying what the heck to Leonard Fournette. I'm saying what the heck to whoever is in Jacksonville that reported all week that he was going to play.
Oh my
I'm
God.
saying what the heck to whoever that was, whoever in Jacksonville
They're on the
was
list.
telling that person. Yeah, all of you guys are on my what the heck right now. Like, what? all week
long. He's good. Right.
Yeah, and they're almost making it seem like T.J. Yeldon he's not practicing, he's got his ankle injury. Okay, good. Fournette's ready to go. Sunday morning, Fournette's out. Like,
right.
What?
And no,
I had no warning.
It definitely hurt me because I have, as you know already, we spoke about it. I drafted late in a lot of my leagues, half the leagues that I care about, And I had a draft with it for that. And I had to. I actually had him on a list of people who I wouldn't mind having. And I drafted him when he fell to me. And yeah, just like you, I know, there's going to be a couple games in the year where he may not be available. That's kind of been his MO. But all week long, like you're saying, they're saying this guy's going to play. He's looking pretty good. The hamstring feels pretty good. He's going to go. So I sat down Carlos Hyde because I thought Leonard Fournette was going to play, and that was the right call. That is the logical call. You have to play Fournette.
Obviously, yeah.
And Carlos Hyde went off for 24 fantasy points. Leonard Fournette out the morning of the game. I'm like, what? So I had to throw James White in there. He had an okay game, but he didn't have a Carlos Hyde game. And I may have still lost that week, but I would have been a lot closer had I known ahead of time what was going on with Leonard Fournette. So, but with this outcome, I think it's a foregone conclusion when you lose 6-9 to the Titans that you got to have him on the field. He'll be playing next week. You can write it down.
Oh yeah, he's out there. They actually, I feel like on the sideline during the game, they were kind of talking amongst themselves. I told you we should have played.
Yeah, right. We should have got him in here. No doubt they have to have him on the field. And I know they were, a lot of experts were saying that you could put it on Bortles' shoulders when Fournette's not in. He seems to have a good game. Well, that didn't happen this game. So, yeah, what the heck? Let's get Leonard Fournette back on the field, Jacksonville. I got one more WTH here for you I want to go over, and that is Dak Prescott. Again, at the beginning of the season, he was one of the dark horse quarterbacks that you can get in the late round that could possibly finish as a top 10. Through the first couple of years in the league, he was close to a top 10, if not a top 10 quarterback. And I know he doesn't have a whole lot of help there in Dallas as far as his receiving core is concerned, but typically an elite passer is going to elevate even mediocre talent. And he is not elevating them at all. To the first 3 games, he's had 498 yards. That is 166 yards passing per game, with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Can I interest you in that? No. That's a quick negative.
God.
Yeah, I can. I'm not going to say he's droppable, but another week like this, and I can't see him being on many teams at all. And I've checked a lot of waiver wires. He's not on the waiver wire right now. So, but if he has another week, I can definitely see him being someone people are, willing to drop, maybe pick up Tannehill or even, Andy Dalton, who is having a pretty decent season. So, he's definitely a WTH for me.
Yeah, and to your point, he doesn't even really look that good. I mean, his balls aren't even looking very, very good when he's passing them.
Because he's sad.
So.
He's sad. He's throwing the ball to say who? What's the name on the back of that jersey? I don't know. Here you go.
Let me just throw it.
Let's throw it up there. I'm not sure who that guy is either. No, but another great day though for, if you want to call it great, decent for someone who's not on many people's radar. Your guy there, Austin, had another touchdown.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
maybe they're getting him involved.
They're using Tavon. I've kind of I'm looking at him because they are kind of trying to get him in there. I don't want to go so far yet to say maybe he's a poor man Tyreek Hill, because I don't really think anybody is. Well, I
think so. I think he has the skill set. The problem is they're not using him quite enough.
Right. That's exactly that's how I feel exactly. That's why until they start using him more, that was my only regard, not wanting to say that yet. But yeah, he could definitely be, a Tyreek Hill type of weapon if they would use him correctly.
Give him the ball a little bit more, Dallas. You guys have nothing else there. Why not? He's scoring touchdowns. Let's go. All
Same thing to you guys, Cardinals. Give David Johnson the ball more, but
Well, in our league, I just traded, and this is something I was going to talk about later on, but let's go ahead and jump on it now. I traded Le'Veon Bell for David Johnson straight up. Now, it's still going through.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I wanted to know what you thought about where your head was.
Well, the idea simply...
And,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, and do you regret it now, thinking, or after the talks about him possibly getting traded have heated up?
No, see, I actually initiated that trade earlier in the week, and it was declined. And I think because of the trade talks, he then initiated the same trade back with me. And obviously, when he got that information, it made me pause and think. What,
Hmm.
what do I want to do here? Do I want to give up Le'Veon Bell when he can perhaps, this is before the injury to Garoppolo, end up on, let's say, the Niners? Even though Breer's
Right.
having a great season, but you can see a guy like Le'Veon just killing it in Shanahan's system, zone blocking system. I could just see this just being an amazing, duo, him and Garoppolo together, and especially how he can catch out of the backfield. So I'm thinking something like that. But on the flip side, as I understand how the contract will have to be with him, he's going to have to play under the franchise tag. Wherever he goes, even if he puts a deal in place ahead of time, hey, this is what I'm willing to accept next year, he still has to play under the franchise tag. So the team getting him has no real guarantee that he's going to stick around. Even if they say, hey, we'll
Right.
put this deal in place and, as soon as all season hits next season, we sign this up, we're good to go. He still may be like, you know what, nah, now I want to listen to some other offers. So
Right.
what team is going to give up what the Steelers are requiring to get him? So there's still, I would say, a 50-50 shot this guy decides to sit out until week 10. I still think it's a
Absolutely.
50
Okay.
shot. But even if he didn't, my thought process was this. And again, it's all in context. You have to take the through week 3 into consideration. But my idea was going into the draft season, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, and Ezekiel Elliott. You'd probably call that 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, you could take any of these guys, number 1 overall, and nobody would sniff about it. Nobody would turn the eye to it because it makes sense to get it. So I looked at the Cardinals' schedule going forward. They play,
Okay.
don't get me wrong, I love the Niners. They play the Niners twice. They play the Kansas City Chiefs. They have a couple of other games out there that I think they may play Dallas, something like that. They have a couple of games out there that are not only winnable, but are not world-class defenses. And if the Cardinal coaching staff has a brain cell, you give the best player, who is David Johnson, the ball. They haven't been doing it, and they've been losing. So I think there's going to be even if it seems like he's not gaining the yards you want him to gain, you give him the opportunity to break it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. 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 I wasn't too upset with that trade when I saw it coming from either side. It looked like it was going to help out either teams. And just to kind of give the listeners a little insight, it is a dynasty league. So
Right.
with that being said, it does matter, what Le'Veon's going to do after this year. So I can see that. And David Johnson is the type of player with the type of caliber to turn it on.
Yeah, I mean, at least
whenever,
I can count
whenever
on 10 points, 12 points, maybe 15 points a week until they get him back where he's supposed to be. And right now,
Right.
I thought I could count on Rex Burkhead to give me maybe 10 points a week until he should have probably been one of the WTH's, 10 points a week until Le'Veon got back. And he seemed like he's being phased out of the offense. Like, he's the backup to Sony.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're getting Sony. They're definitely getting Sony in there, and it looks like right now only. I know we're gonna move on, but it looks like right now James White is he's the only guy in that backfield that still has his role secured.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say now Sony's role secured, but he hasn't set the world on fire. The offense they ran last year with Dion Lewis and Burkhead pales. I mean, this offense pales in comparison to that one. I mean, they were gashing people on the ground last year. I'm not sure if it's an offensive line issue, if it's they don't have, Brandon Cook there anymore to stretch the field a little bit. Maybe the safeties are moving up. I don't know, but this offense there looks horrible. But that's not the point. The point was I can't count on Rex Burkhead. As we've already spoken about, I traded a lot of assets and pieces to get Melvin Gordon, thank goodness. So I'm very, very shallow on my bench, and my next best running back after Burkhead is Tavon Austin. That is the truth. And I have
Oh,
Jacquez Rogers as well, but I can't trust him. Can't trust either.
right,
So at
right.
least I could throw David Johnson in there and know I'm going to get 10 points. And to go with
Definitely,
Melvin
yeah,
Gordon, maybe I'm okay for a while. We'll see.
definitely.
All right, so we've spent quite a bit of time here. We need to move along because the game was coming on here in about 30 minutes. Definitely want to be sitting in front of the TV for that. Again, check us out on Facebook, the Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. We will be we'll be commenting during the game. Let's go ahead and do a quick Week 3 review of some games. There's a few games here you definitely want to highlight. Let's go ahead and start off with that New Orleans-Atlanta game. I know you got a chance to check that one out.
Oh, definitely. I definitely had to sit and watch that. It was exactly what we said it was going to be.
Right.
High scoring, fantasy points everywhere. And let's just give kudos to this man, Calvin Ridley.
Oh, my God.
What a day. What a day, man.
What a day.
7 receptions, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns, and eight targets. So
Don't remind me. Stop bringing up the stats. He crushed me in one of my leagues. I'm gonna go 2-2 this week, so I'm not all the way down, but I should have been 3-1, and I ran into the Riddle Master. The Riddle Master, Calvin Ridley, crushed me, and I was like, oh my God. And the thing is, in that particular league as well, I picked up Jordy Nelson, but that's kind of, he was on waivers, and he was one of my ADP zeros. But if he's free, sure, I'll sit him on my bench to see what happens.
Right.
And he goes off, and I didn't have him in the lineup.
Yes, what this like we've been saying, this is a weird. It's starting off weird. It's just starting off weird, but yeah, and another big thing about Calvin is he had 2 of his touchdowns were red zone touchdowns.
Yep.
So I mean that's something that Julio still hasn't been able to get over the hump, and so now it just seems like Ridley's sliding into there. But on the other side, Alvin Kamara with 20 targets.
20 targets.
20?
He should have the same designation as Tavon Austin, wide receiver, running back. He needs the dual designation.
He does. That's ridiculous.
Insane.
And he caught 15 of them.
15 of them, yep.
And that's exactly what you were saying when we were talking about our ADP zero segment. That if they're going to give him volume like this, nobody expects that though. And of course we'll see what happens when Mark Ingram gets back. But for right now, that's wild.
Yeah, he's having an insane season, ridiculous season so far. Again, it's not the touchdown efficiency he had from before, but just the volume. Right. Again, we'll see how that goes when, like you mentioned, Ingram gets back, but not even a question at this point in time. He's moved solidly into my top 7 or 8, if not top 5, if I were doing a redraft. So I made a little bit of mistake on him, certainly, as far as my ADP zero, but he did great. And Michael Thomas continues to have a great season. He didn't have a touchdown this week, but 129 yards, receiving 10 receptions. I think he had double-digit receptions each game so far, Dave.
Oh yeah, no, he's been crazy. Like, Drew Brees is finding him. He's finding a way to get open. I mean, Michael Thomas is running good routes. He's getting it done. He looks good, and like we said, I mean, the offense looks good. It's just the defense has to get there. The offense looks good. Crazy stat of that game: there were only 2 rushing touchdowns in the entire game, and Drew Brees had both of them.
And one of them was a helicopter. Did Drew Brees?
Yeah.
He went up there, got tossed around. He didn't care though. He says, Cam can do it, I can do it. If Josh Allen can do it, I can do it. And he put his grandpa moves out there, man. He got into the end zone. Oh.
Maybe he's trying to show his defense. Look, I'm tougher than you guys.
Right.
I need to get it. Step this up.
Yeah, step up. I have to throw my body out here just to win the game. But it was a high-scoring game. Again, we told you to get everybody in there as you possibly could. Unfortunately, on the other side of the ball, Coleman did not have that great of a game. It was okay,
Yeah.
but he had 33 yards rushing and maybe about 15 to 20 yards receiving. He did catch a touchdown in the receiving department. Not quite what you were hoping for out of him, but still, he didn't completely disappoint. He probably got you about 15 fantasy points, but really was the talk of the town. 3 touchdowns. I'm not sure if he's going to start taking any pressure off of Julio in the red zone, but for right now, he does appear to be the red zone threat for Atlanta. So we'll see how that continues to go. Good deal. So the second game I want to talk about here is the Miami Dolphins, the undefeated, the world-beating Miami Dolphins, and the Oakland Raiders, who are 0-3 under John Gruden. What is
Who's
happening
wondering?
in Oakland?
John Gruden's saying that it's hard to find a good pass rusher. Is it?
Is it?
Is it hard? Is it hard, John?
Is it hard to find a win? Because you came in doubting your system, what you were going to do, and the pass rusher you had, you let him go. So I'm sure it is. No, it's not hard to find him. You traded him. How about that?
Yeah.
I know exactly where to find him. He's on the Bears. He definitely didn't think that through before you said it out of his mouth.
Yeah. What do you John Gruden should not speak on any kind of D-line pressure at all. Don't let him talk about it.
Yeah.
We already talked about Jordy Nelson having a crazy game, 6 for 8, 173 yards and a touchdown. So he played great. A guy that I mentioned on one of our waiver wire pickups, I can't remember what week it was, but who is, he's not putting up crazy numbers, but when he gets the ball, he's just explosive. Jakeem Grant for the Dolphins.
Oh wow.
This is another good week for him. Like I said, he's not putting, there's not much volume. He was 2 for 3, 70 yards, but the 2 catches he had were touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns. So he's just explosive. I think the week before, or maybe I'm thinking about the Titans week, but he had a kick return for a touchdown. So, touchdowns count regardless.
Right.
So yeah, Jakeem Grant's a good little stash. But yeah, like I said, volume's not there, but he's still playing. Overall, though,
it was a weird game.
The Dolphins, and so far Oakland has. They just can't put a full game together. Like they start off hot. I think they've led, maybe not against the Rams, but they've led, I think, 2 of these 3 games and then blew it in the second half.
Yeah, they definitely got to find some continuity here. I mean, they are getting a decent amount of rushing out of the second coming of Marshawn Lynch. I had a pretty good game. Yeah. Last game he had 19 carries. They gave Doug Martin 9 carries. So they're running the ball. And, I don't know if I want to put on the offense. I didn't get a chance to check out the entire game. There's a couple of interceptions there by Derek Carr, which I'm sure doesn't help. But my big takeaway and my big issue, obviously, is I'm a Kenyon Drake owner. He had 3 yards.
Man.
I don't know. Now there's one thing between, hey, maybe you shouldn't have picked him in the 4th round kind of a thing, and maybe he's not going to have that awesome of a season, and 3 yards. That's a huge gap. That is a earth-sized gap between those 2 statements. What happened? He had 5 rushes the whole game.
I don't, and I this isn't even a chance for me to be like, well, I said it last week. They're using Frank Gore too much. That's not even the case.
No.
He only had 1 more carry and a couple more yards. So I don't know if they just kind of phased away from rushing this game because, I mean, Tannehill did have 289 yards, and I see that they were doing they did a couple of trick plays this game. So I don't know if it was just game planning, game calling this game against the Raiders or what. But yeah, that rush. Tannehill was the leading rusher.
Yeah.
So that was
that's sad.
that was phased out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch this. I mean, there's no way at this point in time I can take Kenyon Drake out of my lineup. The week before he gave me 17 fantasy points. I have to hope this is some kind of aberration. some kind of an anomaly, and it changes. But if we have another game with sub 10 carries, you're going to have to start asking some questions here. And unfortunately, I put a lot of eggs in that Kenyon Drake basket as well. So hopefully things turn around there. All right, let's talk about the next game. Big game. Battle for L.A. Los Angeles Rams and the Chargers, and the Rams came out on top, but both teams played pretty well. What did you take away from that game?
Oh man, so much. First of all, Jared Goff looks great.
Yeah, yeah.
Jared Goff looks really good.
He does.
That was another guy that I just wasn't super high on. Everybody's heard how I thought Patrick Mahomes was just not that guy, but he's proven me wrong. But
you can't call
Jared
a quarterback.
Yeah. It doesn't. Apparently, that's just not me. I'm not too good with this whole quarterback situation because Jared Goff is playing crazy, and I want to say that something that you alluded to last week. I talked about Robert Woods not really having that big of an impact in the game, and you were like, "Well, the targets are there. He's just, something of that sort." You said,
right.
And he showed up. He did it this week. 11 targets, 10 catches, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean,
everybody is eating there, and everybody is eating there, and there's enough targets to go around somehow in this offense. I don't know how they pull this magic where Todd Gurley can get 23 carries, 105 yards, and Robert Woods can have 10 receptions, and Brandon Cooks can have 7 receptions, and Cooper Kupp can score a touchdown. Like, how does everyone eat? It doesn't make sense where 5 or 6 people can eat. I guess perhaps they don't have any tight end play there where you're worried about a Travis Kelce or whatever taking your targets there. But, I mean, everyone, I get it seems like Robert Woods is the red zone target. Maybe he takes the place of a tight end, kind of a role there in the red zone. I don't know, but yeah, I'm actually pretty sad that I didn't get Robert Woods on more teams where I started to buy, not necessarily say buy into, but I started hearing the hype around how Cooper Kupp was the red zone target. And it seems now where Robert Woods has stepped into that role and picked up right where he left off last year, where he's going to be a very solid wide receiver too, possibly going forward this season.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm the same way. I actually I can't remember the full details of it. I had a trade offer for Robert Woods that I declined right before this week. Yeah, I know. But yeah, like you said, I was thinking, as much as I didn't like Brandon Cooks, I was thinking, they love Cooper Kupp.
Right.
They're going to try to throw it downfield to Brandon Cooks. Obviously the offense is around Todd Gurley. I didn't really see where that left Robert Woods, but here it is.
Well, everybody's getting their shot. I mean, heck, Malcolm Brown had 5. He didn't get a lot of touches. 5 touches, 42 yards. I mean, he's got 40. He got half a century. So I mean, everybody's eating. Golf looks great. The defense is as solid as it could be. When you can hold, the gunslinging Phillip Rivers to sub 250 yards passing on the day, you're doing pretty good. But on the Chargers side of the ball, Melvin Gordon had a pretty good game. 80 yards, touchdown, average 5.3. Finally got over that 4-point mark. But once again, the Magic Man Eckler averaged 11.8 yards per touch.
Eckler's getting it done. He's getting it done.
As much as I love Gordon, I don't know how you don't justify giving him the ball 20 times a game. I mean, he just gets 10 yards a carry. That's his thing. Mike Williams showed up. Came out 2 touchdowns, looked really good. Gates got in the game. So perhaps one of my waiver wire under the radar waiver wire pickups with Virgil Green is kind of shifting there. Virgil may not be holding on to that job much longer. Gates had 5 targets. Virgil Green only had 1 target. It was an underwhelming game for Keenan Allen. If you were looking for a big game out of him, he probably only got you 7 or 8 fantasy points. But overall, it was an exciting game. Did you take anything away from the Chargers?
Other than Mike Williams showing up, I like that. He's getting used. I thought that he was going to be more of their red zone threat.
Right.
But they seem, Phillip Rivers seems to, like them. And Melvin Gordon's still doing his due diligence on the other side of the ball.
Right.
And you're going up against, like you say, a great Rams defense. So the Chargers still had a pretty good game, just came a little short.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention about the Rams defense, though, moving forward, as far as matchups go, they did lose Aqib Talib, and they fear he's out for about a month.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, was that
might
the
be something to
ankle
look
or
forward
was
to
that
later.
the heel or something like that? Or
Let me look more into that really quick and see. I had it up. They're saying, high ankle sprain.
Okay.
I think he's out for about a month. So, I'm just, factor that in moving forward. They got the Vikings on a short week. I think Marcus Peters was a little banged up during the game. I'm not for sure.
Yeah,
so you might want to go
but
towards
who needs
those.
defense
We'll talk about
when you have an offense like the Rams have, apparently?
That's true. That's true. Hey, the Chiefs can attest to that because their defense is nothing, but their offense is just ridiculous.
As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and talk about that. That was the last game we were going to rewind and review here. San Francisco, Kansas City, and what can you say? I mean, we knew going into the week it was going to be a high-scoring game. The Chiefs would probably do whatever they wanted to do. It wasn't quite as horrible as I thought it would have been as a San Francisco 49er fan as far as our defense against their offense. I mean, they certainly moved the ball, but I was predicting like 50 points, and it didn't come out to be that bad. But still, Pat Mahomes set a record for touchdowns through the first 3 weeks. Once again, their pass catchers looked great. Kareem Hunt got a couple touchdowns. Everything was clicking.
Yeah. It's a Patrick thing. That's what I ended up saying all Sunday. Whenever he did so, it's a Patrick thing. Like I don't know what to say. That one he had where he was rolling to the left, spun around, came back, and like what else can you say, man? This guy's fun to watch. Travis Kelce is still getting that volume, 10 targets.
He's getting it in.
He's doing his thing, and I don't really know what else to say other than the big bad news in San Francisco, man.
Yeah. As a fan, it definitely deflates you a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot of it. Even though we weren't winning some of these games, we were in the games. You can see something being built there. I still think we have a little bit more evaluation and growth for Garoppolo, and unfortunately his season's going to be cut short, where we're not going to get that growth going into possibly next year where we can make that leap. So I don't know if we're going to, call it the season with Garoppolo. I actually thought that possibly San Francisco would be in the running for Le'Veon Bell trade. Again, you can see with him in the backfield and Garoppolo that it could possibly be a dynamic duo. And now I think that completely takes them out of the running because, they could possibly still do it thinking about the future. But this year is going to be pretty much a wash. I'm not even sure if there's any, quarterbacks out there that we can get for a 1-year rental that can come in and provide us a spark. I was thinking maybe if there's a full-time change in Arizona, who I think has been influenced by the Browns. They put Josh Rosen in to go ahead and let him start. They put him in the fourth quarter last game. And I thought that the Cardinals were still in the game. They still had a chance to win. So I'm not quite sure why they made that switch right then. But Bradford has been he has been serviceable. He actually looked pretty good when he was in Minnesota before his knee went out the last time. And he may be someone that may be out there who could look, at least decent if they want to take a look into something. The other guy would have been Teddy Bridgewater, but I don't think the Saints are giving him up. They got him as a backup plan for Drew Brees. There's a lot of hurt hearts. But on the bright side, they got Breida running really well, looking pretty good. And I think with C.J. Beathard, who is the backup quarterback for San Francisco there, you're probably going to get a lot more passes to the running back, and you're going to get Kittle maybe loose. I think he likes his tight end.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to allude to. The bright side for fantasy owners, C.J. Beathard definitely, we saw that with Carlos Hyde. He will definitely throw it to the running back out of the backfield a lot more than Jimmy Garoppolo will. So that's there's no reason to run away necessarily from the 49ers backfield. Looking at it from that standpoint.
The two that take a deep hit's going to be your Goodwin, and even though Pierre Garçon hasn't been doing anything, you definitely want to sit him down. So we'll see how it progresses. Maybe C.J. Beathard has taken a step forward in that system. He didn't get a chance to really, take 2 years. It was his first year in Shanahan's system last year as well. So we'll see how that goes, but possibly they still look decent, but that definitely is going to be a big blow for San Francisco. So for a couple of weeks, I'd be sitting Goodwin and Garçon, but you can go ahead and fire Kittle up. I mean, the tight end position right now is so tough. You probably have no choice anyhow. He's just as good as anyone else out there, even with Beathard, so still fire him up for you. All right, good deal. That's our Week 3 review. Let's go ahead and got somebody
really
want to talk about. Okay.
Really quick. Congrats, Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Go ahead.
Any Cleveland fans, take your, y'all deserve it.
Yeah, get your beer.
For you guys.
Absolutely. I'm really happy for him as well, and I actually have Baker on one of my dynasty squads. I'm not firing him up just yet, but I am excited to see what he can do full time in that offense, and he's a lot more mobile than people. If you're a casual fan, he can run. He's not Tyrod Taylor, but he can get outside the pocket if he needs to. So he's not a tree stump there. So watch out for that. I think he's going to have his ups and downs, but he can be a viable fantasy option. Let me ask you this question while we're on the subject. I did just lose Jimmy G in one of my leagues. And I have Winston backing him up, but with, again, Fitzmagic pulling off one of his tricks here, and the resurrection of his career, they may sit Winston for a couple of more weeks until they have justification to put him in. Do I take a shot at Baker, or do I pick up a guy like Ryan Tannehill or Andy Dalton?
Oh, that is a good question. I think I like Baker. I like how he looks.
Right.
I like how the offense looked when he got in the game. I think, though, for me,
Dalton probably.
Andy Dalton, probably Dalton going against the Falcons defense this next week. But as far as Baker goes, while I like him, I'm more excited about the playmakers around him. I think everybody, David Njoku's stock definitely goes up. Yeah, everybody goes up just with him being on the field. Like you said, I'm not ready yet to throw Baker out there, but yeah, if with that question, I'd probably go Andy, because I think you said you said it earlier today. Yeah, Andy hasn't looked awful this year, and that Falcons defense continues to go through injury woes. They just had another one this past week, so yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the way I was going, but I wanted to know if people thought differently than I thought about Baker.
Yeah.
Could he be someone who could be really, really fantasy viable? But again, he's a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs, and I'm probably going to go Dalton, but just wanted to see. All right, good deal. Let's go ahead and real quickly go through the Week 4 games. I want to talk about the Rams and the Vikes coming up. Assuming the Vikings can do better than they did this week, this should be a slug-em-out game. Who do you have and who do you want?
Well, I actually want the receiving core with the Rams. And I'm not, solely basing this off of the Bills' performance, but I think that, either one of the three, Cooper, Woods, or Brandon Cooks, I think they're still gonna get theirs.
Right.
Honestly. And I'm firing up. I'm firing up. Diggs, especially with what we just talked about, with Talib being out, Peters being hurt. So yeah, that could be a high-scoring game if the O-line can hold up there in Minnesota with the the dogs that the Rams have on that D-line. But I will say this: Dalvin Cook claims he's going to be healthy and good to go Thursday. He's looking for it. I'm not playing him. Not
Yeah, not
coming off
against
of
that Rams front four. You
yeah.
probably, I mean, you may have no choice. I mean, likely a lot of people
Right,
would draft
right.
him top 3 or 4 rounds, if not the first round. Well, definitely first couple of rounds. So you probably have no choice but to roll him out there. But that's going to be tough sledding against the Rams. In
Yeah,
fact, like you mentioned,
definitely.
they've had some injuries to the defensive backfield. So if you want to attack them somewhere, I think through the air is likely going to be where you want to go there. Um, I'm probably wanting to against the Rams fire up. Yeah, I'm firing up my Thielen, firing up my Diggs, and firing up my Kyle Rudolph. Those are people that should be in your lineup.
Yeah.
Anyhow, if I had to guess one way or the other, if I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong here, but I believe Peters plays on the right side of the field. I think Diggs could have a big game here. If he's not,
Hmm.
yeah, if he's not out there, I think Diggs might be the guy to go after. But again, Thielen can't go wrong. He's been seeing a lot of targets, and also Kyle Rudolph. So I've won all those guys. And if I could, if I was in a smaller league, maybe an 8 or 10 man league, and I could sit Cook, definitely would be sitting any of the Vikings running
Right.
backs. You're not going to sit Gurley, even though the Vikings have a great defense. You're not going to sit Gurley.
No.
Um,
No.
I may not expect too much out of Cooks this week. Yeah, I wouldn't sit him. You got to play him, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see a subpar game from Cooks this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. All right, good deal. Let's go ahead to the next game here, week 4. Another big one coming up. We just kind of mentioned it. Bengals and the Falcons. All of a sudden, the Bengals look like they have a competent offense and an okay defense, and this may be high scoring. And Danny Dalton may have to keep up with the Falcons. Who do you have here?
Yeah, a big name that you actually picked up and played in one of our leagues, Boyd. Boyd, the receiver. Yeah, he, especially if they say AJ Green's injury isn't anything huge, but I mean, if he's anything less than 90% or so,
Right.
fire up Boyd. I like Boyd. I like we just talked about, I like Andy Dalton. Of course, I like Calvin Ridley and those guys. I'm not a big fan of Austin Hooper. I know we talked about, people, you're probably scrambling for tight ends right now. So if you're kind of thinking, should I get Hooper or should I start Hooper? I don't, they've struggled. The Bengals have struggled against the tight ends this year from listening to or looking at researching stuff. But I don't really trust Hooper this week.
Yeah, I don't trust Hooper any week. He's never he's never on any of my radars. Not even a DFS play. I don't mess with him too much. And Tyler Boyd, kind of one of those guys that have come out of obscurity first couple of years in the league. It's kind of like, he's just a guy. He's just a guy on the team. He'll catch 3 balls a game and 30 yards, and all of a sudden he looks like AJ Green light. He comes out there and he can fill in for him. And Andy Dalton has trust in him. He's looking for him. He's getting the targets. He's getting the yards, and the air yards have to. I should have went and got the stat, but the air yards have to be crazy here. I'm liking Boyd as well. But when they went ahead and I forgot the guy's name. He's been there in with the Bengals for a while.
Brandon LaFell.
When they let LaFell go, everybody, hey, choo-choo, hype train for John Ross, and he's completely disappeared.
Yeah, that's got to be disappointing for the John Ross truthers of last year and this year.
Right.
Yeah, he's just Boyd's just inserted right over him and kind of taking that over.
Yeah. But I like Boyd as well. You got to think with those groin injuries, can be aggravating for the receiver. Someone who uses those kinds of muscles and all that great stuff, as much as they do.
How you feel about Giovanni Bernard?
I feel pretty good. They're saying Mixon may be back, but I mean, again, with just coming off of, even though it was a minor surgery, coming off of surgery, you probably want to be careful with this guy. You got to make sure he's there for the long haul. I actually dropped Chris Carson. We'll get into that in a second. for Giovanni Bernard in one of my leagues because, again, yeah, I don't want to lose. And it looked as if Carson and Penny were getting ready to go into a 50-50 timeshare. The first couple of weeks, They couldn't move the ball, do anything on the ground. The last game, they split right down the middle in carries. I'm like, okay, the front office called down to the coaching staff. We picked Penny first round, put him in the game. And I thought this was getting ready to be either a 50-50 split or be Rashad Penny's backfield, and it completely went the other way. And Carson had his first 100-yard game here this season and a touchdown. Made me feel sick. But I don't feel too bad because Bernard helped me win my week, but he's a short-term play. Carson may be viable all year long here, so I feel a little bad about that. But he definitely had a good week, and I think he's another player you should fire up this upcoming week.
Definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, good. Let's go ahead and talk about the last week 4 game I want to talk about here. We're running up on an hour, so we'll do this. So we'll run through our starts of the week, and we're going to get to the game. So we got the Rams and the Ravens. Ravens and the Steelers. Who are you running here?
Give me Juju. I need Juju.
Gotta have Juju.
I want Juju. Yes, give me. Yeah, let me have Juju. I know that Ravens defense is great. I know it. They're playing in Pittsburgh. It's a division game, so yeah, it's going to be crazy. But I'm firing up Juju, and I'm firing up Crabtree and John Brown.
Oh wow!
I mean, if I've got them, if I've got them. Play him. Unfortunately, I have Crabtree on one team, and I don't have any shares in John Brown, unfortunately. I wasn't expecting this kind of play from him. He's been doing great. But again, I guess that's still his defense. Give me those receivers. And of course, even though I talk about the Madden curse, if I had Antonio Brown, I would obviously start him. That's just obvious. But
you're like John Gruden here. You're saying, hey, it's hard to find pass catchers. Is it really? Because I think you traded away the best one in the game over the Madden curse. We're not going to talk about it. But yes, you got all kinds of things here. You got Juju. Definitely got Antonio Brown. They're still missing Jimmy Smith out of the Rams' defensive backfield, so someone's going to definitely eat there. You're still firing up your Connor. He didn't have that great of a week last week, but I think that was because of game script. Steelers sound they're feeling more comfortable with him as they're taking offers for Le'Veon Bell, so they may be willing to roll with James Conner here. So I think he's a good play. On the Ravens side of the ball, it looks like both of those running backs are going to be viable. They're not going to set the world on fire, but you can probably look for 10 to 12 points out of them. And, yeah, John Brown, you got to get him in the game. He's looking fantastic this year, so I like that a lot. Good deal. That'll wrap up our week 4 games. Let's go ahead and do our starters of the week. We'll bounce back and forth. We're not going to have time for waiver wire. Actually, I will mention one person, but we're not going to dive too deep into it because we've been running for an hour here. Let's do our starts of the week. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, and a defense. Go ahead and start with your quarterback.
Yeah, we've already talked about him quite a bit here. Andy Dalton. I think he's a start. I think he's a must start if you have him, or if you can pick him up against that Falcons defense. That's like we've already talked about. It continues to go downhill. So yeah, we've already spoke on it quite a bit just throughout the podcast. So I'll just throw him. Yeah, Andy Dalton is the must start for me.
Yeah, and all he should have a good game. It should be a high scoring game. I like that one certainly. My QB start of the week is going to be Phillip Rivers. I think he has a bounce back week this week. I like him a lot. Anytime traditionally when Phillip Rivers has a bad game, he typically follows that up with a good game with those options there. He should be he's a candidate to go off any particular week. So I like him this upcoming week. Who's your running back?
Well, I like Bilal Powell. I'm going in a route. Yeah, I'm going in a route of, other than the guys that you obviously know to start. I think Bilal Powell against the Jaguars is a sneaky start just because, I believe that
That's
Sam
real
Darnold's going to have to
sneaky.
get that. Yeah. I believe that Sam Darnold's going to have to get that ball out quickly. I feel like pass catching running backs do well against strong defensive front like that. I know Deion Lewis didn't have the best game against them, but James White had a pretty good game against them. So I think out of that backfield, Bilal Powell could have a pretty good game. Like I said, I'm doing more of a sneaky start than a must start.
That is a sneaky start. That's real sneaky.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I hope you're right. Maybe he might be a sleeper this week. That's a tough one to tell someone, especially when he's splitting carries with Isaiah Crowell. They seem to favor along the goal line there, but yeah, we'll see how that one turns out. Start of the week, Bilal Powell. You heard it here, folks.
Hey, I would take I would take full blame for it if you guys, if it doesn't work out, but just know if it does work out, you got that from me.
Yeah, he said it first, definitely. For my running back, I got Kareem Hunt. I think the Hunt train's going to keep on going. He's starting to fire up the touchdowns a little bit. A couple of weeks ago or last week, we talked about him being a little bit underwhelming. They certainly got him in the end zone. I don't foresee the passing game taking too much of a hit, but of course, it's been sky high and it can't stay that high. And Denver has a pretty decent passing defense, so I think they're going to bring it to the ground a little bit. I don't suspect they're going to completely change what they do, but I have my eye here on Kareem Hunt. Again, he can catch balls out of the backfield as well, so if handing it off is not working, they may do some more passes out of the backfield. So I have Kareem Hunt this particular week. I'm going to go up my wide receiver here, just kind of piggybacking off of my quarterback, Keenan Allen here. This week, I think he has another bounce-back week right along with Rivers. And, again, they're playing my porous 49ers who just lost their quarterback. We'll see how the defense responds. But in general, offenses do pretty good against the 49ers. And looks like Richard Sherman's going to be out for a couple of weeks, who was probably the only hope to possibly stop Keenan Allen. So I look for him to have a big week.
Yeah, I like Keenan Allen and almost any matchup. So yeah, definitely. My guy Antonio Callaway. That Baker Mayfield Antonio Callaway connection is real. Of course, he likes Jarvis. He gets it around, but I definitely like that. The Raiders are giving up about 265 passing yards a game or receiving yards a game. So yeah, I think Antonio Callaway in for a big game. He's got speed to get behind the secondary, and Baker Mayfield's not afraid to throw it down there and make a big play. So I like Callaway.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a good pick as well. I played him DFS, dropped a couple of balls, but I think that he's going to be a good player as well. I like that one. All right, my tight end is Tyler Eifert. He seems like he's healthy. The only reason you don't play this guy, the only reason he wasn't a top tight end draft pick was because of the health concerns. He's been out. He's played all 3 games. Haven't heard any injury news. Looked like he may be back. And I believe last game he had a pretty decent game. Don't have the stat line here, but I do believe he had around 5 or 6 catches. So I will roll him out there this week, as with the tight end landscape the way that it is, and with them playing against the Falcons, there's going to be a lot of passing, a lot of points scored. I'll look to him to have a pretty good stat line.
Yeah, definitely. I like Eifert a lot with the Andy Dalton and the Bengals. My guy is Travis Kelce. The volume's there. Volume speaks for itself. The offense is hidden. The Broncos' defense is strongest with the corners and safeties.
Right.
So, I think we've seen it. If you've watched the Chiefs play, they hit the outside pretty early on, and then Travis Kelce finds his way open at the 3-yard line for a 10-yard touchdown pass repeatedly. Yeah, Travis Kelce is the start for me. And going to the defense real quick is going to be – the reason I want to go into it is because I just had my sneaky start with Powell, and my must start is the Jaguars. So,
well, you just took
but
my
you
must
got
start of the week as well because I think they're going to eat.
okay.
I think they're going to eat that offensive line. I don't. I
Yeah.
wouldn't start. I'm sitting. I would sit there, but I have Quincy Enunwa, one of my teams, and he's not even going in. I think he's good for 10 points a
Yeah.
game regardless, but I don't even want to try the Jags this week, especially coming off of that loss to a subpar team.
Uh-huh.
I think they're going to be fired up, and I think they're going to come at the Jets with all they have. I'm not firing any Jets up this week. Yeah, Jags will start of the week for me as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of here. I will mention one waiver wire pickup. The Indianapolis Colts backfield is a complete dumpster fire. Keep Robert Turbin on your radar. I don't think he's all that great, but he may actually come in and be the best option among them if if the things continue to go the way they're going there. Robert Turner may come into a role off of his suspension after week 4. Marlon Mack's continue to be hurt. Jordan Wilkins looks like trash. Sorry, he just does. Nothing personal. Naeem Hines, underwhelming. So Turbin might be someone to take a look at. Do you have one name you want to mention there?
Yeah, just a sneaky guy to kind of keep your eyes on if you're not in the dynasty league, and he might be on the waiver. Christian Kirk, especially with Josh Rosen starting now, and they have that connection together. So I think Christian Kirk could be somebody to kind of keep your eyes on. I'm sure in dynasty leagues people have already kind of stashed them, but other than that, yeah, not anything to start necessarily just yet,
Right.
but somebody to kind of watch.
Absolutely. Well, Dave, want to say thank you, man. It was an awesome show. Listeners, once again, thank all of you guys for tuning in. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Leave comments. Answer that question from earlier in the show, and we will let you know who got the answer right. Again, visit us on Facebook tonight and this week. That is the Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. Once again, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Dave, do you have anything else for the people?
Enjoy your football. Have a good week.
Absolutely. We're signing off.